It might seem like the easiest part of keeping ants, but there are a lot of beginners that don't know how to set up a test tube for their ants or don't know why it is so important.
In this video I'm going to show you how to make a proper test tube setup
and even give you some unknown tips and tricks. Welcome to Esthetic Ants, where today we are doing the most important thing in ant keeping, making a test tube setup.
Why is this so important? Well, the test tube setup is the proven way to raise a founding queen. It is simple, efficient and provides a fully claustral queen with everything she needs. Water to drink, space to lay the eggs and moisture. It looks simple, but setting up this test tube can be quite difficult and there is more to it than you might think.
We at Aesthetic Ants have made tens of thousands of test tubes in total, so we kinda know what to do.
For example, here you can see 3 test tubes. Can you tell me which ones aren't good? Leave it in the comments below before continuing this video.
Alright, congratulations, you've caught an ant queen. If you live in Europe, you've probably captured this one, a Lasius Niger queen.
Now she needs somewhere to live and start a colony. Let's make a test tube setup. For materials you only need 3 basic things. Water, a test tube and 2 pieces of cotton.
As this is an in-depth tutorial, let's go over all of them, one by one.
First, the water.
The most important thing and the mistake many beginners make, you need to be using plain, normal water, not sugar water.
Many people say you can just use regular tap water, but this is only true if you live in countries where the water is also drinkable straight from the tap.
If that is not the case, you can use bottled water or distilled water. You might think this is overkill, and it probably is. But this step helps prevent the water from turning bad or having mold and bacterial outbreaks.
You may sometimes see the water in a test tube change color.
This does not always mean the pH has changed, because color can also come from bacteria, algae, mold, minerals, food residue or ant waste. But the pH can change over time.
Ant waste, microbial growth, food leftovers, ammonia, CO2 and even the type of water used can all slowly push the water more acidic or more basic.
So the safest advice is simple. Use clean, drink-safe water, avoid sugar water in the reservoir and move the colony to a fresh setup if the test tube becomes heavily discolored, moldy or dirty. In our experience, and you should take this with a big grain of salt, ants that have pink colored water often die faster because of it. The green water does not affect the ants so much. This is just from our experience in handling thousands of ants and not based on any scientific evidence.
Next up, the cotton. This can be any cotton as long as it is compact enough. For a long time we used makeup remover pads. Cheap and simple. Now we are using these cotton balls. They are very dense and clean. One fits exactly in our test tube, making them very simple to use.
And here's a pro tip. Before you touch the cotton, wash your hands. Best would be to sanitize them using isopropyl alcohol and wait for your hands to get dry. Your hands are full of bacteria and oils which can negatively impact the longevity of your test tube. Wearing sterile gloves would be the best, but maybe overkill if you're just setting up one test tube. But if that is your only ant colony, why not take those extra steps?
Alright, now that we have that covered, the final part, test tubes. Again, this is a tricky thing.
A lot of people think test tubes are the easy part and pick a big one because it can contain a lot of water. Not really.
Ants are small. Very small, and the test tube should reflect their size.
In the wild, ants dig a very small founding chamber, just big enough to turn around. In the ant keeping hobby, most tubes are standardized, so these conditions are often not met in captivity.
At Aesthetic Ants we do use 2 types of test tubes. Both are 16mm in diameter and range between 100 and 150mm long. For this Lasius Niger queen we used the 100mm long test tube. For a founding colony we normally use the 150mm long test tube. We really like these Italian 150mm long test tubes. They have a double wall on the inside, making them much stronger than their single-walled counterparts.
Personally, and this is a personal preference, we prefer plastic so much more over glass.
Plastic cracks and does not shatter like glass. Glass is dangerous and sharp when broken. It is also much more slippery for the ants. The cotton leaks much quicker and glass conducts temperature very well, so if your room is cold, the glass glass will be cold as well.
However, this is really personal, as a lot of people swear by glass, as the visibility of the ants is much better, which is definitely true. Alright, we got our items, and now it is finally time to set up a test tube.
First, we are going to take our test tube and fill it up with water. How much water are we going to put in? Well, that depends, again, on the species you are planning to put into it. For colonies, we recommend putting in less water, so it is easier to feed them. For single claustral queens, we recommend putting in more water, as they need time to develop their colony. For semi-claustral queens, we recommend putting in less water, so you have more space to feed. There are even some species that prefer a much drier nesting area. Tetraponera rufonigra. Those we often put in a dry tube with just a very small water reservoir for them to drink out of.
You are probably wondering, EA, can you make things even more complicated? From this example, I hope you understand that ant keeping is not black and white. Every species has its own need, which you should understand. Yes, we can generalize everything, but keeping a Lasius Niger colony and a Manica rubida, for example, is a world difference. Always inform yourself by reading online and learning about the experiences of other ant keepers.
We have a great Discord server where you can ask other ant keepers for help. We have an English one and also a Dutch one.
Both links are in the description, so join if you want to. Okay, so now it's time to put our freshly caught Lasius Niger queen into a test tube. But first, a message from our sponsor, which, big surprise, is ourselves. Esthetic Ants is the one-stop shop where you can buy everything related to ants. Maybe you need a good starter setup. Maybe you need a good nest or a secure outworld. At Esthetic Ants, we have what you need. Don't believe me? Well, check out our website at www.aestheticants.com. And did you know we recently opened a second store in the United States? You can visit that one by adding /USA to our link. While you are there, you can use the code AestheticAntsYouTube10 for 10% discount on your next order. Now, back to the video.
For Lasius Niger, we will fill the tube a little more than 1/3 of the test tube. You can fill it with water using a bottle, syringe or straight under the sink. Then the cotton. This is a very tricky process. Remember the example from earlier with the 3 test tubes? The top test tube is way too dry. The cotton does not sit deep enough, so the ants won't be able to drink and moisture levels will be limited. The bottom test tube is way too wet. It will leak very easily and can kill your colony. The middle test tube is perfect and has the cotton placed at exactly the right position.
So how to achieve this?
You take your tube filled with water in your hand that is not dominant. Then on your dominant hand you take tweezers and grab the cotton. I'm using cotton balls, but this can be any cotton. You're going to put the cotton inside the entrance. Then take out your tweezers as they are stuck inside the cotton and push it down fast. If you do it too slowly, the capillary force from the cotton ball will attract the water, causing an air bubble. This can cause your test tube to leak water. Push it down fast, but not too deep. Now that you avoided the air bubble, you can gently push the surface deeper until everything sits at the correct level.
If you fail, please make a new test tube, because this step is very important.
Next, we are going to place in the ant. You can do this in 100 different ways. I find the easiest one is to guide the ant inside the test tube by placing the test tube very close to the ant and using the cotton that you will use to close the test tube to guide her inside. Then you can press the closing cotton firmly into the test tube and boom, you are done.
You did it! You made a perfect test tube setup and put in an ant queen. Soon you will have a thriving colony, all coming from your simple test tube setup. I'm sorry I've made such a broad video about a topic that simple, but we see so many ant keepers get this completely wrong. If you see someone with a badly made test tube, be sure to send them this video and it will help and guide them. Everything you need to set up your own test tubes is available on aestheticants.com. Make sure to buy everything you need so you are ready when the flight season starts. And that is it for this tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please comment your thoughts about this video. Do you agree? Are there things we missed? Let me know which tutorial you would like to see next. Make sure to subscribe and like this video to become part of the colony. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.